information for your next assignment, okay? Today's assignment. So really listen carefully. I'm going to go ahead. Here we go. Get my dock camera. If I turn my dock camera on ahead of time, then I have to turn it off and on again. So hopefully it'll do it. All right. So if you start on the side with that gave all of the instructions, today's instructions are very similar. Let's see, make sure my friends at home can see. Okay, so Mrs. Harrison wrote in the answer that would have gotten the most points. Yours might be different, and I'll explain kind of why. So today, all these instructions are not really on your paper because we have given you a lot of space. And my friends at home, yours is going to be on a Google Doc like it was last time. So the instructions are there. But it asked you to read some pages, and it asked you to fill out a graphic organizer. Today, not only are you going to read the pages are pages you've already read today. All right. So we are going to ask you to reread some before you get started today so you can find the information. But you don't have to read anything new. You're going to use the pages you've already read to answer today's questions. But you are going to have to get your information from those pages, not just anywhere in your book, certain pages. Okay, so I'll show you in a minute which pages you're going to do. But this was for pages 16 and 17. All right. They told you how to fill out the graphic organizer. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Then they had a research question. How do reptiles and amphibians use bright colors to protect themselves? So we know that a focus statement directly relates to the question. It answers the question in a broad way so that you can add some more details about it, right? But it answers the question. It does not start with the word how. It does not start with the word why. It does not start with any words that sound like a question themselves, okay? So some of you like to write your statement starting with those kind of words, but it's a statement, not a question. So the way this went, and remember Mrs. Woodland helped us grade these? So what you basically needed is this was worth 4 points. Today also will be worth 4 points, okay? So the basic answer said reptiles and amphibians use bright colors to warn predators not to eat them to survive. Okay, 4 points. 1 point, you needed to say what they did, why they would do this. Because the question says to protect themselves, right? And to protect themselves, they have to survive. So you had to have the word predator or the word survive really for 1 point. So right now, everybody look at their version that's here. Look at how many points. I said plus and however many points. So look at that section. Sawyer, you're looking at your paper. So 1 point. So my friends at home, just really look carefully. You got 1 point if it was a complete sentence. So some of you did not write complete sentences. So if it's a focus statement, it has to be a sentence. It has to make sense by itself. So that was 1 point. 1 point, you had to have reptiles and amphibians. Some of you just put they. We didn't know who the they was. So we needed the words reptiles and amphibians in some way, all right? And 1 point had to do with either warning or blending in, okay? You could have said either blend in or warn, and it didn't have, and maybe your word wasn't exactly warn, maybe it was something similar to that, all right? So that's how you got however many points you got, all right? So let everybody look and see, and right now identify why did I not get 4 points? Everybody look at your paper, not me. Your sentence is not on my forehead. Elena, look at your own paper and figure out right now. So my friends at home, think about what your sentence was. And think about, did you include all those things? Do you give me a thumbs up when you can identify why you didn't, how you got whatever points that you got and what you're going to do today to improve it. All right. Ms. Marin, do you understand where your points came from, do you think? Okay. Cooper, do you understand? Okay, so you're giving me a thumbs up to show me. Thank you. All right, Miss Evie. Do you know why you got whatever? Okay, because today you're going to do the same thing. You have to write another focus statement. Now, it's not this exact focus statement, is it? No, that wouldn't make any sense, would it, my friends? All right, so on the back, and my friends at home, you have a section to fill in. So this is where words that you thought people might need to understand. All right, so some of you used words like markings. Do most people know what markings are? Yeah, so was that a great choice necessarily for a difficult word to define? Probably not. So these were some of the words that we expected to see. Now, that doesn't mean that Mrs. Aubin, Mrs. Woodland, and I didn't give you some credit for some other ones, because we may have. But these are the words that they were really expecting you to use. The word like toxic, secretion, venomous, deceptive, camouflage. Now, some of you did use those words, so that was fine. This section was worth what? It was worth, you had to have at least two words and at least two definitions that made sense. So if you said colorful and you said full of color, is that really a definition that may help someone understand what colorful is? Probably not. So we may have given you one for the word, but not one for the definition. So can I have all my friends who are at least in the room turn and be on this side of their paper right now so you can see what we gave you and why? Because again, today you're doing one. So my friends at home, think about what words you used and if any of those were the words or if you used some simpler ones. The whole point is what are some words that really might be helpful? Then facts. Some of you, again, these were a score between 1 and 4. 4 meaning you really did well. 3 meaning you did what we asked you to do, which was 2. And 2 was like, well, you gave us part of an answer, but not exactly what we were expecting. And a 1 was you were kind of way off. Okay. So some of you wrote about amphibians living partly on water and partly on land. Is that a fact? Yes, but was that from these pages that we read? No. So could I count that? No. We had to get information from these pages. And if you said them directly, you used quotation marks. If you wrote your own words, you didn't have to. So these are not the only answers that could have been them, but Mrs. Harrison, we looked through those pages and strawberry poison dart frogs are bright red. Is that a fact? Is it from those pages? Yes. And it's pretty broad. Now, a detail about that, something that's more specific than just being bright red, strawberry poison dart frogs warn predators that their secretions are toxic. Now, is that pretty specific? Does it help us understand why the strawberry dart frogs are red? Yes, explains that their secretions are toxic. So it would have helped if I had said secretion up here and toxic, if I'd actually given definitions for those. So you can't just list the words here. Mrs. Harrison did, but just because I don't have a lot of room, but I would define those words. Another fact, milk snakes look like coral snakes. Does that answer our question? Always go back. Does it answer the question, how do reptiles and amphibians lose bright colors to protect themselves? Some of you wrote really interesting facts and details, but they didn't have anything to do with that sentence, that question. You have to stick to answering the question, all right? So strawberry dart frogs are bright red. That's a fact. Milk snakes look like coral snakes. Is that a fact? Yes. How does that go with the fact that they're trying to protect themselves? Well, the strawberry dart frog warns predators that their secretions are toxic. Milk snakes have similar bands to the Texas coral snakes to look like they are venomous. Okay. Now you might have had different things, but those directly related to the question. All right. If you talked about just amphibians in general, that didn't count because that didn't come from those pages. All right. You have to come from the pages and they have to go with the question. All right. So now that we've looked at the last test. So everybody right now, just for a moment. So my friends at home, take a good look at how that relates to our question and see if you can think back to what you wrote. My friends in here, everybody look at those points. So Sawyer, you need to look at the other side of your paper. Honey, I'm doing this so that you can see what you need to improve on for today. All right, everybody look at that side. And do you see why you got the grade that you got? Is there anybody that's not sure that Mrs. Aubin could maybe take a look at? Or everybody good? Know about how they, all right. So if they have if you have a particular question, she'll just kind of glance at it. Otherwise, I'm going to continue to go on though, because I want you to see what today's work is. All right. So today you have, I'm going to go ahead and get out of my camera for a moment. All right. So today is the second part of our workbook from before. All right. Let's see. Sorry, it's warming up. You can see my little guy spinning here. Spin, spin, spin. All right. So to go with today's, it's still spinning. All right. Here's our learning targets for today. Today you are going to gather and categorize, which means to put information in sections to answer a research question. I'll show you what today's research question is, and you're going to fill out a form just like the one we did with the 3 sections, except for today, you're going to take it one step farther. Instead of just filling out the note catcher, is a note catcher really useful by itself? No, what's the whole point of a note catcher? So that we can use it, right? So we can use it to do what? To write. So your second part today is once you've written your note catcher, you are going to write a paragraph with about poison dart frogs, and you are going to write with the idea of responding to the question, to the prompt. I'll give that to you in a minute, I promise. So the last thing you're going to do is complete your adaptations paragraph. All right, so some of you have already done that. Some of you probably will take most of your time writing your paragraph and may not have time for that. But if you finish early, then you're going to make sure that you've got everything you need to have. So that's why that's on there. All right, working to become an effective learner. Today, you're going to have to persevere. This is tough stuff. It requires you really to work, and you got to use your time wisely. You got to work hard. You can't get distracted. And especially when it comes to writing a paragraph, some of you don't love writing big amounts of work, but today you're going to do your best job for me. And when it gets hard, you're going to say something positive to yourself, because that's our that's our affirmation. I will think positively, right? All right. So think about what an informative checklist that we've already looked at. What kind of things does it ask for? It asks for a good focus statement, right? It asks for facts and details. It asks for an introductory sentence and a conclusion sentence, right? It asks for linking words. It asks for obviously spelling and all that stuff, right? So do you think those are the things we want for our paragraph today? What do you think, my friends at home? Should you include all those things for today? Yes, definitely in your paragraph, all those parts. Thank you, Miss Astria. I always love it when you're focused on me. So today, I want you to listen carefully, because so my friends at home, this is actually on your assignment, but my friends here, we've cut this part off because it's just a lot of writing that you don't need on the paper, but I need you to listen, okay? Everybody get ready? You have been researching different frogs and how they survive. Give me a thumbs up if you've been doing that. Good, everybody should have been doing that, right? Thank you. On the mid-unit assessment, and on this assessment, you read a text about the colors and markings of amphibians and reptiles. Using your research notes and 2 texts on frogs, you will write an informational paragraph. Other students, don't read that. Other students and teachers will read your piece to learn more about poison dart frogs. Don't worry about that part. Just know that Mrs. Aubin and I and Mrs. Woodland will be reading them. Write an informational paragraph that explains, are you listening? Because this is the big part here, how poison dart frogs have adapted to help them survive in various environments. Choose the most important information from your source to include into your paragraph. I'm going to tell you what pages to look at to help you with that, okay? They're pages you've already read. All right. Then you are going to write an informational paragraph that is several sentences long. So let's think about that. Several sentences. That seems like a lot, doesn't it? So let's think about it. Introductory sentence is 1. Focus statement is 2. Probably 2 or 3 sentences with facts and details, right? You're going to make at least 4 on your, so you at least 3, but maybe even 4 from your facts and your details, and a conclusion. How many does that end up being? At least 6. If you use all your facts and details, that might be 7. All right. So are 7 sentences manageable for a 3rd grader? Definitely. You guys can do this. Yours might be longer if you have more details to add, but everybody should have at least 6 to 7 sentences. Okay. In your piece, introduce the topic and group related information together. Use facts, definitions, and details to develop your topic. Now, up to now, Mrs. Aubin and I have been able to help you a lot with your frog adaptation paragraph, right? The one you've been typing. My friends at home, we worked a lot with Mrs. Aubin on Friday and Thursday. So we were able to help you with that. Today, Mrs. Aubin and I are not going to be able to really tell you what you need to have involved in that paragraph, all right? We're just not going to be able to help too much. You can always ask, and Mrs. Aubin and I might say, you know, I can't, that's part of what we need to see if you know. You can always ask, but we might have to say no in today's work, okay? So so remember, well-written informational piece examines a topic and has that information clearly written, introduces the topic, uses facts and details, clearly presents information that is easy to understand and engages the reader, follows the rules of spelling and punctuation, all the ones of writing that we usually use, and incorporates research. You have 2 sources today in your frog book, pages 16 and 17, which are the ones you did for this, okay? And pages 46 and 47, which is the ones that came from the work you just did on Friday. And okay, so those are your set pages. I'm going to leave that. This is going to be up so that people can see it. Okay, so you'll know which exact pages to use. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and escape out of that because that has to do with your other work. All right. So today you are going to in fact, I'll show my friends at home first. You're going to go to today's assignment, classwork. You guys are going to do this on paper instead, but you're going to find this is today's work, part 2, end of unit assessment. You're going to stay online with Mrs. Aubin so she can see that you are done and that you have finished before you turn anything in. So you are going to click on this part here that says Google Doc. Mr. Logan, are you looking? All right, just checking. All right, so everybody at home see that? Part 2, end of unit 2 assessment. Mr. Jensen, you're going to have to probably do the yesterday or Friday's assignment first, so this makes sense to you. All right, here are those exact directions that I just gave to you, right? My friends at home, does this look familiar? This part right here at the top, those are the exact same directions that we already gave you. Okay, so in your information, I'm going to also flip, you are going to look, and there's a section for your focus statement. On here, you guys are going to write that at the top. It says focus statement. Well, I'm going to make sure that you write a focus statement there. But should you write your focus statement first, do you think? So sometimes does it help to have your facts and your details before you decide what your answer is? Yes. Do you need to do that before you write your paragraph though? Yes, because you get to just copy your focus statement from there into your paragraph. All right. So my friends at home, do you also see? So there's your focus statement where you're going to just click in the middle and type, right? Whatever. Okay. So type in there, whatever don't type just jibber jabber, type actually sentence. Then here's your definitions. Here's your facts. Here's your details. Then once you've done that, my friends, here are the instructions again. And I'm going to have those up on the board for the friends here. And then this is where you're going to write your paragraph. All right. Do you see in here is where you're going to write your paragraph? Everybody looking at me at home, thumbs up. Do you see where you're going to write your paragraph? Thank you, Leo. Thanks, Ben. So Ben, you see that? That's where you're going to write your paragraph.
Yeah, but I have a question. So on our paragraph, do we have to write, you said 7 sentences?
6 to 7 sentences, yes, in your paragraph.
Okay.
Haley, say that again.
Do we get to, are we picking a frog to type about?
Nope. You're gonna, here, let's go back up to the, that's a good question. Thank you for asking that question again. Here is your question. Right here, Miss Haley. Why is the poison dart frog so colorful? That's your question you're gonna write about today. You don't get to pick a frog. You have to write about the poison dart frog. All right.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, good question. Gavin, do you see everything that you need to see? All right. Mr. Jensen, Mrs. Aubin might help you out to get on to Friday's work first so that you can finish Friday's things first before you try to work on today's. Now, my friends here, this is what your paper looks like. It's got your question, your place for your focus statement, your place for your writing here, and then we're going to give you a piece of paper to write your paragraph on. Okay? So you're not going to be doing any typing for your assessment today. You're just going to be writing it on paper. Okay? All right. So you've got quite a bit of time to work, but should you kind of keep an eye on the clock so that you get finished in time? Yes, for sure. You've got about, I've given you 40 minutes to fill out and because you don't have to reread anything. So here you don't need that. Go ahead and put that down. You're going to do everything on paper. So you've already read the pages, so there's no new reading. Although my suggestion is to find on those 2 pages, those 4 pages, actually 2 sets of pages, where the information about the poison dart frog is to help you. Okay. All right. Okay. Any questions from my friends at home or from here? Jensen? So you're going to want to do Friday's assignment first, probably, because you haven't read the pages yet, buddy. So I would go to Friday's assignment, the 5th. It says part 1, and I would work on that first because you're going to need to read those pages first before you can answer the question. Does that make sense, Jensen? You do the test. He should do the test first. Yeah, that part. Okay, and Mrs. Aubin can help you with that. I'm going to send Mrs. Aubin next door to answer questions from my remote friends. All right, everybody at home feeling pretty good about that? All right, Ben, I love it. Thank you so much, Haley. Thank you so much. All right, okay. So I'm going to pass out everything here. Maybe Miss Liz would back me up on that. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself. Everybody stay. Mrs. Aubin will be right there with you, okay? So you guys can go ahead and get started. Pages 16, 17, 42, and 43 are those ones you're going to be looking at again.
Jensen, do you want to share your screen with me? Or do you want me to share and show you what was Friday?
On quiz 1.2.
Hold on.
5.1.
Sorry, now can you say that again? My sound was off.
Quiz 5.1 right now.
Do you think you know what to do?
Yeah, I've done a lot of tests. Yeah.
Okay. Let me know if you have a question. Yes, Jensen.
So I don't remember answering this question, the very first question in quiz point 5.1. And yeah.